Unmasking the Smiling Man, a deep dive. Imagine this: you're walking alone on a dimly lit street. The city is quiet, its usual hum reduced to the faint rustle of leaves and distant footsteps. You see a figure in the distance. At first he seems harmless, a regular man out enjoying the night. But as he gets closer, you notice something strange. His movements are unsettling, his posture unnerving. And then there it is, that grotesque grin stretched unnaturally wide across his face. His unblinking eyes lock onto yours, and an icy chill runs down your spine. Why is he smiling? What does he want? This is the essence of the Smiling Man legend, a modern urban myth that has haunted countless people over the years. Who or what is the Smiling Man? Tonight we'll take a chilling journey into his origins, his rise to viral infamy, the unsettling symbolism that keeps him alive, and the theories about who or what he might be. Brace yourselves, because once we start unmasking the Smiling Man, you may never look at a smile the same way again. Our story begins not in the dimly lit streets of a bustling city, but in the whispered tales of those who claim to have encountered something or someone beyond explanation. Early accounts of the Smiling Man vary, but the core elements remain hauntingly consistent. A man dressed neatly but slightly off-kilter. He appears on quiet streets late at night, his movements odd, his smile hauntingly wide, and his presence deeply unsettling. The earliest reports seem to surface in anonymous online communities, where people share their creepiest encounters. Some accounts describe the Smiling Man as walking unnaturally, as though he's rehearsing human movement but failing to get it quite right. Others mention how he seems to simply appear and disappear as if out of thin air. Though we don't know exactly when the Smiling Man was born as a legend, his unsettling presence feels timeless. He belongs to the eerie in-between spaces of the night, places where danger, isolation, and imagination collide. Like most urban legends, the Smiling Man's rise to fame owes much to the internet, a breeding ground for modern myths. With the power of social media, this mysterious figure leapt from whispered local stories into a cultural phenomenon. One of the most famous stories, shared on the internet over a decade ago, recounts an encounter by a lone pedestrian. In the story, a young man recalls a disturbing late-night walk where he encountered the Smiling Man. The figure danced erratically in the middle of the street, his grin never wavering, his gaze locked onto the terrified storyteller. The Smiling Man didn't speak, didn't touch. He simply followed at a distance, smiling that unnervingly wide smile. This account was uploaded to Reddit and quickly gained attention, sparking countless comments, discussions, and theories. Others came forward with their own accounts, eerily similar in their details. Internet storytellers brought the character to life through creepypasta, graphic renderings, and even short films reenacting their encounters. It wasn't long before amateur investigators began mapping his sightings and dissecting videos of purported encounters. The Smiling Man went viral, slipping deeper into the shadows of collective paranoia. So what exactly makes the Smiling Man such a terrifying figure? Much of his horror lies in the details. Witnesses describe him as sharply dressed, but slightly off. Perhaps his tie is crooked or his suit seems outdated. His movements are even stranger. Sometimes he walks stiffly like a wind-up doll. Other times his swagger has a bizarre fluidity that borders on inhuman. He's often seen dancing, but not in a joyful, relatable way. Instead, his dancing feels manic, almost ritualistic, like he's moving in ways he shouldn't. And then there's his smile, that impossibly wide, toothy grin. Some claim his mouth appears too big for his face, as though it were stretched by an invisible force. His eyes never flicker, locked onto his target with an unnatural intensity. This combination of human-like and otherworldly traits creates a sense of the uncanny. He looks like us, but different enough to make your skin crawl. But the real question remains, who is the Smiling Man? Or perhaps more chilling, what is he? One theory is that he's nothing more than an elaborate hoax, a figment of our collective imagination amplified by technology. After all, anyone with the right costume and a twisted sense of humor could don a wide smile, march through empty city streets, and terrify unsuspecting strangers. Another possibility taps into the psychological. The Smiling Man could be a shared hallucination, a manifestation of urban anxiety. Our fear of isolation, particularly in today's sprawling, impersonal cities, might explain why this concept resonates so strongly. Some researchers argue that urban legends like this one symbolize collective fears, a subconscious way of processing the strange, overwhelming world we live in. A darker theory suggests that the smiling man could be a supernatural entity. This idea draws parallels with other urban legends, such as the Slender Man or Mothman. Like these eerie figures, the smiling man defies explanation, existing in the shadowy corners of our reality. Is he a cryptid, a ghost, or something even more terrifying, an evil spirit who feeds on fear? Finally, there's the notion that the smiling man is, in fact, a social experiment. Over the years, some have speculated that he's deliberately placed in certain locations to monitor how humans respond to fear. Could his unsettling presence be part of a larger psychological study, a test of human behavior when confronted with the unknown? Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the smiling man is his smile itself. What does it represent? Some argue that his grin reflects a fear of deception. In human interactions, we're wired to trust facial expressions, but the smiling man's grin feels insincere, even predatory. It's as if he's hiding something behind that gleaming row of teeth. Others suggest that his smile symbolizes societal pressures, expectations to mask our true emotions with forced happiness. His exaggerated grin could be seen as a grotesque caricature of these unrealistic demands. On a deeper level, the smiling man taps into our fear of the uncanny, the unsettling feeling we get when something looks human but isn't quite right. His twisted smile and strange movements are too unnatural to ignore, but too familiar to dismiss outright. So why do stories like this captivate us? Why do we keep returning to the smiling man even when he terrifies us? Humans have always been drawn to the unknown. At its core, the smiling man legend satisfies our basic need for mystery and fear. Urban legends like these create a safe space to explore the terrifying without real-world consequences. We can face the smiling man from the safety of our homes, surrounded by the warm glow of a screen. But on a deeper level, urban legends also serve as mirrors, reflecting our anxieties, fears, and societal struggles. The smiling man forces us to confront a very human fear, that the world is full of things we can't explain, and that danger can be as simple as someone smiling too much. Despite all the chilling stories and plausible theories, the smiling man remains a profound mystery. Why him? Why now? Could there be a grain of truth at the core of this urban legend? Perhaps what makes him so unnerving is his lack of motive. Most monsters require a reason to hunt: revenge, survival, anger. But the smiling man appears to do what he does simply because he can. He doesn't harm his victims, or at least not physically. Instead, he preys on their fear, leaving them with an unforgettable encounter that will haunt them forever. The smiling man stands as a chilling reminder that fear doesn't always require violence. Sometimes it's the unknown, the man in a suit, smiling too wide, watching from the shadows, that keeps us awake at night. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this. What if you saw him tonight? Would you smile back? Remember, when the sun dips below the horizon and the streets grow quiet, the smiling man could be out there, watching, waiting. Sleep well if you can.